Good morning. A little later today. Oh, only 59% humidity out there. That's a surprise, but it's already 85 degrees, so there you go. But I'm going out. I'm going to do a little garden tour. Even though I have so much content, I don't know what to do with it because Dennis would like Juanita's input. Look at our tomato. So we have tons of tomatoes on the Roma tomatoes. I mean, just look, they're just everywhere. Can't see them, half of them. But the reason I'm doing this tour, so peppers, we've got a big pepper down there. Can you see it? Nope. There it is. And we have a giant pepper here. I didn't even notice. These are so hard. Oh, there it is. But the reason we're out here is because we have some kind of a fungus. It's not showing up great because it's so sunny there on our cucumber leaves.
There's one in there that's pretty bad looking.
I would save, oh yeah, that one's all brown. I was going to save this for content for later, but Dennis would like Juanita's advice on what, if anything, we should do about our cucumber leaves. And look at our cucumber! So excited. Oh, we have lots. Oh, one of them fell off, sweetie. There's a tiny little, there's a big one here, but tiny little one fell off over there. We need to check these. This one's really big and it's touching the ground, so we should probably just pick it and eat it with our tomato. But anyway, Juanita, if you have any ideas about the fungus or whatever this is on our cucumber, Dennis would love to hear your advice. Look how tall these are. These are giant cucumbers.
These are spiky.
Yeah, well, that's probably, I mean, could it be a Cornichon or a?
No, it's too big.
It's one of the big ones.
Yeah, the bigger ones. I think they were both pickling cucumbers.
Yeah, I forget.
I don't think we planted any like regular eating cucumbers. Not that you couldn't eat these. But.
I'll look at the and then we have a big. This one's had a big one for quite a while. But these are supposed to turn green. Look how huge that is, and I didn't even realize it was there.
Supposed to turn red.
I mean red. Turn red. We don't like green peppers. Anyway. So Juanita, any advice for Dennis? Meanwhile, back at the ranch. Good morning. It's Barbara. It's a little later than I have been lately, but it's still morning anyway. Thank you for joining me for coffee. It's my second coffee. Dennis brought me coffee in bed. So Juanita, Dennis has some kind of organic antifungal thing from Johnny Seeds, which is all different kinds of oils. And he also has some kind of copper fungicide. So anyway, anything you can help with his garden, he would appreciate. Oh, I forgot. I was going to show you. Okay, so yesterday I got the Penguano pattern off the printer because I printed it again. I have no idea where my gorgeous color version of this pattern is, but I have been having trouble printing in color lately, and it uses up so much to make it beautiful that I didn't do it again. But here's the Penguano, and I've been talking about it for a long time. So I started reading it, and I'm reading the Choosing Me yarns, and he recommends using, you build your yarn by putting more than one strand together to do things. And he suggests that you use several lofty yarns or use some lofty yarns to make sure that the overall end product isn't too heavy. And so I started thinking about how much I enjoyed doing my backbone using the mohair. So I decided, instead of using the bear that I was going to combine with everything, I decided to use mohair. So I called my local yarn shop, which is Pearls of Wisdom PA. They have a website, to see if they had any kid silk haze, and they did. So I am holding that double with what I'm doing, and I started my penguano. I decided the back of the penguano, here's some pictures of the penguano. This is the back panel. It's not the entire back, but the back panel, I decided I was going to use the magic ball that I had created when I was taking apart my blanket to reknit it smaller. So I had a magic ball of colors that I just kept adding to. And that's what I decided to do my back in. And I did a gauge swatch. And I really love the colors of it. So after I was done, I took it apart. So it's part of this part of my penguano, because I didn't want to waste it on a gauge swatch I wasn't going to do anything with. So I did a gauge swatch, and my gauge swatch ended up being 16 by 28 rows. Now, a lot of this sweater is going to be knit from side to side rather than up and down, which is not my favorite, because my row gauge, as I've told you a million times, is always really bad. And this is. So 16 stitches by 28 rows per 4-inch square. That is not on the list of gauges. 16 stitches should have 36 rows. And so I am 8 rows. I have 8 fewer rows per 4 inches, which means when I stitch 36 rows, I am a quarter bigger than it expects, basically, to do my size. I was trying to go for a size large. 28 rows would be an XXL and have 12 stitches per row. Now, the thing I didn't realize until I was in the middle of this back, where it wasn't working great, because the back does X number of rows, and then you pick up on the side that number of stitches and that kind of thing. So anyway, I thought, oh, I'll just adjust this. But I realized that it took me a long time. Hello. The size of the penguano, and you can see all these people are wearing completely different sized penguanos. The size of the penguano is determined by the thickness of the yarn, not the number of stitches. So in this pattern, there is no, I was thinking I'll go down a size because of my row gauge. There is no going down a size. There's one pattern. Everything is the same number of stitches. So whatever size you're doing, it's going to be the same number of stitches. It's going to be the yarn size that determines the size of the sweater. And I didn't realize that until I was halfway through, because I had done this calculation thinking I was going to do X number of rows. Well, I figured out that according to the pattern in my size, the back would be 15 inches. And then I was just going to do 15 inches and go from there. But that means my number of stitches going forward doing the other parts would be off. And I couldn't figure out how to fix it. And I decided that I can't do that. So what I did was I knit exactly the number of rows that Stephen West designed. So here is my back panel for my, and it goes like this, of course, but it won't fit that way, for my penguano. I finished it last night. Now, I am not going to do the whole penguano using minis or anything like that, but I decided that I wanted to do the back from that magic ball. So this is what was my swatch. That was so pretty. And then it goes in. I hesitated when the yellow came, I have to admit, but then I decided to go for it. And here we go. So this is the back of my penguano. My penguano is going to be very big because it's very light and airy. You can see how big my stitches are. This is knit on a 10.5 American 10.5 needle. And this is one strand of Kid Silk Haze and 1 strand of fingering. So it's very light, very airy, but it's still going to be warm because of the Kid Silk, I think. So this sweater is going to be big, and I hope I like it. I think I'm going to enjoy knitting it. The next thing that I do on this, it's already bound off and everything. The next thing I do is pick up the stitches along this edge, and I do these welts. You can see the welts. So I did this panel, and then there are welts on both sides of that back panel. And so the next thing is to do the welts and then do the side of the back. You can see these are numbered. So I did the back, then I do the welts, then I do the welts, then I do the side panel, then I do the welt, then I do the side panel. So that's where I am. I'm ready to do the welts. Now I've done welts before because I did a hat that I really like a 20s cloche hat that I made for Christy. I gave Christy hers. I made one for Allison, but it came out too big and I didn't like it. And so I didn't give it to her. It's still in my stash as a hat. But I enjoy making welts. They're kind of fun. But the trick I discovered, and I don't know if I read it somewhere, I probably did because I can't believe I thought it up myself. But the trick with welts is what you're doing is pretend that white, it's a provisional cast on, is the needle. You're gonna knit 8. What you're gonna do for the next row is you're gonna knit your stitch, and then you're going to pick up and knit in the back of a stitch 8 rows down. And so you make this fold in the fabric. And then you keep knitting from here, and then you do it again and do it again. And that's how you end up with 3 welts. I don't know if that makes sense. But the trick I discovered either by reading someone else's, which is highly likely, or making it myself, is that when you knit the row that you know is going to be the row below that you knit into to make the welt, if you, as you knit that, when you're done knitting it, if you run a very thin circular needle through that row and then keep knitting, when it's time to pick up the stitches from that row, they will already be on a needle. They'll be on a thin needle, but that's okay. And that's much easier than trying to pick up the back of the stitch, especially since I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to make my welts out of Kid Silk Haze and this. And I just bought this yesterday. And it is just like Kid Silk Haze. So it's going to be a very fluffy welts. I'm going to try it, see how it looks. If it doesn't work, I'll take it out. But I got this yesterday at my local yarn shop. Now, I took some video at my yarn shop, which I promised on Instagram and on Facebook that I was going to show today in today's video, but I'm not going to because I'm already too long since I had to put that garden section in for Dennis. So this was one of the yarns that I bought at my store yesterday, and I will do the tour tomorrow and show you the other yarns that I bought. It's a wonderful store, and I got to meet the owner. She was lovely. And but this yarn is we're gonna see how I do. So this is 35% kid mohair, 35% Surrey alpaca, and 30% silk. So I will wind this up and see how this goes, and this is going to be my welts. I was, in my twilight sleep, a little worried because the rest of the jacket is attached to those welts, but silk is very strong, the mohair is very strong, so I have a feeling that it'll be okay. If I'm not confident after making the 3rd welt, if I'm not confident that it's going to be strong enough to support the rest of the jacket, I'll go back and I'll just pick up the stitches on the side of the back panel and knit a couple of rows here, and then just tack down the welts to it and keep going so that it's attached to the back panel rather than to the welts if I feel like they're too fragile, if you catch my drift. But this is what I'm making. This is what I've done. These are what I'm going to do next. And then this is the side panel that comes off each side. So it's my intention to go through my stash and find colors that I want that will go with this. And that's just about everything. I think the only thing that's not here really is like a green, because I have purple and blue and pink and brown and yellow and gray. And this has some peachy whatever. So the only thing that's not on here is green, and I'm perfectly happy to add green if it suits me. So this is my plan. I've started my penguano. So yesterday I started reading the pattern, decided I want the kids' silk haze, and went shopping. And I bought a sweater. Not this sweater, a different sweater. I will show you that tomorrow. But that was fun. And oh, and then we went to visit Aura and sat and visited Aura, and I knit my swatch while we were visiting with Aura, and that was lovely, and she's doing great. And then I came home and I knit. And I knit and I knit. And I knit the back of my penguano. That penguano is going to be long and it's going to be big. And I hope I love it. But I am going to enjoy knitting it. I'm quite sure about that. So there you go. Day 1, penguano. I'll keep you posted. Meanwhile, okay, Valerie, Catherine, all of you who are not well, please, please feel better. Please, please take good care of yourselves. And stay cool. Stay cool for those in the northern hemisphere. Stay warm for those in the southern hemisphere. But please, please take care of yourself and feel better. I am so sorry. Meanwhile, I'm going to go. I have things to do. Today's the day for making drinks. I have my lemon juice to make and tonic to make today. So that's what I'm going to do. And knit. And start getting ready for the girls coming, because I'm on the train at the crack of dawn before the crack of dawn on Wednesday. So I got stuff to do. Meanwhile, please feel better. Please take good care of yourselves. Be careful. Stay safe. And stay sane.